Hi everyone, I just wanted to share a disclaimer before you watch this video. So I'm obviously going to be sharing my story of how I had COVID and then unfortunately have been diagnosed with long COVID and how I've been living with that. It's quite an emotional story, so, and I'm feeling quite vulnerable. I'm being quite vulnerable sharing this online, so please, I hope you can try and be respectful in the comments, because you know this is my life and other people's lives as well, and yeah, just please try and be respectful in the comments. Also, I'm aware that this isn't new, this isn't a new illness. I'm aware that long COVID does fall under like the branch of autoimmune diseases and chronic illness diseases. I'm very much aware of that now, but you know, I am very new to the chronic illness space, so I'm just sharing my story, especially as it's Long COVID Awareness Day. I just wanted to play my part and make it heard, and yeah, I just wanted to share my experience with it all. And also I will leave some resources for Long COVID Awareness, the charity, if you want to donate, support, also other charities as well. I know there's a really good ME charity that I do follow, so I'll try and leave links and resources down below. And just lastly, before I go, if you are sensitive to any of this stuff, you know, including medical trauma and things like that, you don't have to watch this video. You can skip this video if it's not for you, that's fine, and there'll be other videos in the future. I don't want this channel to be a main focus on chronic illness. This channel is my escape for books and amongst other things that make me happy, but I thought it would be a disservice not to share my story on Long COVID Awareness Day, just to make, you know, to bring awareness. So yeah, now that housekeeping's done, I'll let you get back to the video. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is gonna be a little bit different. Well, it's gonna be very different. I thought I would finally share my story of how it's like living with long COVID. As it's Long COVID Awareness Day, I thought I'd be brave and share my story, because apart from my close family and my super close friends, no one knows I've been living with this illness for almost 3 years. I'm quite a private person as well, and I don't really, apart from having a YouTube channel recently, I don't really share my life online. So I don't know, I was debating whether to share this or not, because once it's out on the internet, you can't delete it, you can't take it back. But I thought that I would use my platform to share this horrific, debilitating, life-altering illness, disability that I unfortunately have been diagnosed with. And because I was thinking about how I'm just trying to transport myself back to me nearly 3 years ago, when this was all so new to me and I was terrified and so scared. I'd find a video like this incredibly helpful. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing this for people who are unfortunately early in their diagnosis and don't know what's to come, or don't know what their outcome will be. Obviously everybody is different, I'm different. Not everybody with long COVID have the same symptoms. We do have similar symptoms, but it can be completely different. I think it probably also depends on what strain you caught as well of COVID. And yeah, this is going to be quite an emotional video. I can already feel myself. I have tissues here because I think this is going to be quite a hard video to do, as it's been incredibly hard. It's been so hard to live with, and God's sake, I've been suffering in silence for so long, and I think it's time that I spoke about it. Obviously I've spoken about it here on my channel. My channel's fairly new, and this isn't a channel about chronic illness, and I don't want it to be about chronic illness. This is a channel for my escapism of my shit reality. I'm going to be swearing in this probably as well. My awful reality that I have, and this is an escape for me. This is about books and talking to people who also have books, and also talking to people who do have chronic illness as well. But I do not want this to be specifically about chronic illness and disability. There are other channels that specifically focus on that, but I can't make this channel just about that. But because it's Long COVID Awareness Day, and I wanted to share this anyway, but I thought it was definitely the right time to do it. So yeah, so here we go. It started off in June 2021. Just that month alone, it brings me a lot of drama. June 2021 was a very happy start to the month. I had just got engaged to my now husband, and yeah, life was going great. Obviously we were still in the pandemic, but thankfully we were okay, our family was okay, our friends were okay, and we were dealing with it well. So yeah, we had a trip down to Cornwall, and yeah, we got engaged and we came back, and weirdly enough, my friends booked a bingo event, and weirdly enough it coincided with the week we came back, so we got to celebrate with our friends that following Friday. And then the following Monday, my other half, he didn't feel too great, but I felt okay. However, I had like my first ever panic attack, ever. I think I've been close to panic attacks, but this one, I didn't even know it was a panic attack. So prior to this, on the weekend prior, so a day after the bingo thing, which had so much fun, by the way. But even though looking back, I don't think that should have even been allowed, because, you know, it was still in the real thick of the pandemic. And like cases were high. So we got our vaccines, and so the following Monday, I had a really, really awful panic attack. Like, it was horrendous. Other half called the ambulance because I couldn't feel my hands, I couldn't feel my feet, everything. It was horrible. Hi everyone, I hope you don't mind that I'm just coming in throughout this video just to sort of clear things up whilst I'm remembering and it's jogging my memory. So I just said that I told my partner to call the ambulance because I had a panic attack, and I just want to kind of make it clear that I didn't know at the time I was having a panic attack. It felt like I was like anaphylaxis, so like anaphylactic shock. Like, it felt incredibly life-threatening because of the symptoms I had. I've never had to call 999 before, so I felt that this is serious. So that's why the ambulance was called. I would never call an ambulance just over a panic attack. I know it's not just a panic attack, but I wasn't aware I was having one only until when the paramedics actually told me, oh, it sounds like you're having a panic attack. So, when they got there, after half an hour and after it kind of calmed down a bit. So, yeah, just wanted to clarify that as well. So, yeah, I'm sure you'll see me again soon. But yeah, that's the video. I was so frightened, so scared. As you are with panic attacks, your body's in shock, and it's just like, like even now, like, I'm getting a bit nervous talking about it. But yeah, so that happened. And then the following day, I took the day off work because I was just in shock of what had happened and stuff like that. Other half wasn't still feeling great, but he was okay. Then the following day or two, we both felt awful, felt absolutely horrendous. We didn't have any COVID tests in the house. So I think one of our friends, her fiance now, dropped off some COVID tests through our letterbox, didn't come in, dropped them off for the letterbox, which was so kind of him. I was so grateful. So we did those, it's like the lateral flow test, that's it. Did those and they came back positive. So we were like, oh my God. So then we had to go to one of the actual test centres to do the PCR. So we went there. I don't know how I managed to do that because my other half could not drive. He was really unwell, couldn't drive. So I just managed to just muster up some strength somewhere, drove us there. We did the PCR. We were really struggling, and then we went home. and unfortunately they came back and they went positive as well. So the following week or 2 weeks, we were just absolutely bedridden. It was horrendous. It was so bad. We were just living off other food. Thankfully, my parents at the time, I was living close to family, so my parents would drop me around food, and my grandma made us food, and yeah, we were actually really grateful that we lived close to friends and family at that time, because if we didn't, I think it would have been really, really hard and really isolating. Fast forward 2 weeks after even just the illness in itself was horrible. It was, I think my mind is blocked out a lot because, you know, trauma. So my brain's doing a good job of blocking all that out, but it was horrendous. Couldn't really breathe and sleep. Like, it was awful. My husband, he recovered, and I just didn't. It was just rolling over and over. I remember I tried to go back to work after like the 2.5, 3 week mark, and I just couldn't do it. I remember I logged on. So I was working remote at the time. I logged on for like an hour maybe, and I couldn't look at the screen. I felt sick. I couldn't even sit up. It was just awful. So I just carried on and carried on. And then, because in my mind, you know, when you're ill, you recover, you get over it, don't you? And I tried going out for walks. I tried sitting out in the gardens. We had a garden at the time. We rented a house, and it was nothing was helping. Oh yeah, I remember during the actual infection, I did actually go to the hospital because I felt like I was getting worse. Went to A&E, which was horrible. I was waiting for, like, God, I was in there. Luckily, not luckily, but when you test positive COVID and you go to A&E, you're like just wheeled in straight away. You're like in your own ward. Nobody else was in the ward but me, which was quite nice because I wouldn't have wanted to see that, but it was really scary times. So I was in there for about 6 hours. They did bloods, they did an x-ray, loads of stuff. They just sent me home with some antibiotics and just said, whatever, you'll get better. Didn't. Yeah, obviously took the antibiotics. They didn't do anything. So, yeah, weeks and weeks went by and I just wasn't getting any better at all. In terms of symptoms wise, I was just having so many like neurological symptoms, like just really bad brain fog, awful headaches, just aches and pains and like buzzing in my hands and feet and arms, like zapping, terrible head pressure. I can't even think back now because it was just so long, but it was just so traumatizing. Also, just neurological symptoms wise, in the early days, I'd say like the first like month or two, like I had some mad gosh, I can't get my words out, some mad symptoms. Like I had like hallucinations and derealization. So like I would almost forget like where I was and like who my partner was and just things like that. It was really terrifying and scary. I'd also have a lot of things where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and like my heart rate was so high, it'd be like 130 or something, just out of sleep. I also had really bad POTS as well. So POTS is, I can't remember the actual name of POTS, postural something tachycardia. So it's basically when like from sitting, so I will sit and then I'll stand up and my heart rate would just shoot up to like 120 or 130. So I used to have that for months and months and it was so horrible. There was plenty of other symptoms I used to have, and it was almost like they would just come like a party. Like they'd be like, yeah, just meet me. My body was the club and these symptoms were just having fun. And sometimes they'd just turn up like 10s at a time and they'd just all have a little party in my body. And it was just horrific. So you'd have like, 20 symptoms going off at the same time. And it was just a nightmare. And also the fatigue as well. That was just so bad. But yeah, I just thought I'd add that in because I keep remembering as I'm editing this, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't touch on that, I didn't touch that on that. And I just wanted to clarify. So yeah, anyways, back to the video. I also had such bad sensitivity to like noise and sound. It was absolutely horrendous. Like I said, I couldn't look at any screens. I couldn't look at my phone that much. I mean, that wasn't during COVID. I was fine with screens and stuff like that. It was just after. It was absolutely horrendous. And at the time we were also having a bit of a heat wave in the UK, and it was awful. I just remember my intolerance to heat was terrible. Never had an intolerance to heat at all. I'm an island baby. My family's from Jamaica. I love the heat. I love the sun. And I just couldn't bear it. It was, my body temperature just couldn't cool down. Just everything was just haywire. I was throwing up all the time. I was having severe panic attacks all the time. Dreadful, dreadful time. Yeah, a lot of like ambulances were called. I just remember going to bed and just thinking, I'm not going to wake up. I'm not going to wake up. I was petrified. I was so scared. I was just like, what is going on with my body? Like, this is not. So yeah, I was going to the doctors and I was having blood tests. They were all coming back fairly normal. Obviously they were just like, you just need bed rest, you just need to rest it off. Nothing was helping, nothing was working. Like I said, in the fast forward maybe like a month or 2 or 3, so we got to like maybe August, September time. August time, I decided to shave my hair off because I couldn't shower really. I was just bedridden completely. Used to have, well, I don't know if you guys have seen my natural hair, but before COVID, my hair was good. Like, it was thriving. I'll try and put some pictures. It was really thick, it was healthy, it was all natural because I did a big chop in 2017. So I had to shave it all off again in August 2021 because I just could not handle washing my hair or anything. If anyone knows you've got 4C hair, it's very thick and curly, and I love natural hair. I love my natural hair, and I couldn't manage it because I just couldn't even look after myself. Could barely brush my teeth, so I just decided to shave it off. And I've noticed since it's grown back, it hasn't been as thick and as luscious as what it was before. I don't know if that's just age, because I was 27 when this all started, and now I'm going to be 30. So I don't know if that's just age or if it's a combination of long COVID. I don't know, but my hair is still, I'm very, very grateful that my hair grew back. Very, very grateful, because some people, their hair just has struggled to grow, or it's just been really thin and fine. But yeah, it's a lot finer than it was. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. It's really hard to, I've got notes, but it's really hard to sort of remember. So yeah, so like I was saying, like around the first few months of this, from the initial infection, I was just completely bedbound, and I would just crash from anything, like just from speaking like this would send me into a crash. Hearing anything, so like I said, TV, and just I couldn't be in a room with more than one person, because just their conversation alone would nearly send me into a crash. I wouldn't be able to speak for long because like I said, it would just send me into a crash, because I just guess the overstimulation of the body. I'm not sure. At this time, I was still employed, and whilst I had COVID, my old employer were like, don't worry, like, we're paid, everybody who has COVID, you're fully paid, don't worry, just get yourself better and just come back to when you're ready. So I was like, thank God I was getting a full salary coming in. And unfortunately, in August or September, that had changed. They'd changed their policy and said, unfortunately, we can't cover this anymore. So I think I had to either use my holiday, or I had to go down to statutory sick pay, which, for anybody who doesn't know statutory sick pay, it's nothing. I think it's like, I don't know, like £50 or £60 a week. It was nothing. And at the time, I was working in PR and marketing. So it was a very, like, I was comfortable with my salary. And to go from that to basically nothing was horrendous. I was thinking, okay, well, I need to see if I can return to work or whatever. I wasn't aware of how long this would be going on for. So I tried to do that. I think I had to have meetings with HR, and the meetings were video calls, like a return to work, or I think it's because I was on long sickness or something. Like, I had to have these regular meetings and speak to occupational health, and it was horrendous. I had a HR meeting and with my manager, and they could see I was struggling. I couldn't take a break. Like, the HR person was like, oh, we need to get this all done. And it just, they weren't empathetic at all, unfortunately. And unfortunately, that video call, I was on the video call for maybe about 45 minutes or an hour, that sent me into a full 2-day, 48-hour crash where I had to have my eye mask on, I had to have headphones in, the curtains, luckily are blackout curtains, and I had to be in complete darkness because my body, it was horrible. And in those early days, I had to do that a lot. And sorry. It was so traumatizing. And I remember my family and my friends kept wanting to come over and see me and check on me, like you would when someone's ill. But because I just couldn't tolerate any sound and noise, I had to beg them, please don't come, because it would just send me into a crash and I couldn't be in a room full of darkness. Sorry, oh my God. Sorry. I was saying, yeah, I couldn't be in a room full of darkness. I couldn't do it. I needed to be selfish and be like, look, I can't do this. So I was really isolated, and my poor husband, he couldn't really leave me on my own. I couldn't be left on my own in the house because I was so terrified something would happen. A lot of my symptoms were similar to people who had strokes, or, well, not severe strokes, but like some symptoms of stroke, or a lot of my symptoms aligned with TBIs, which is a traumatic brain injury. And I was just so terrified that something may happen to me. So I couldn't, my husband couldn't really leave me on my own. And I think, even though I feel sorry for me, I also feel sorry for him, because he's been through a lot. Oh God, let me try and stop crying. He has been so isolated through all of this because he hasn't had anybody to talk to who's been through this, you know, especially how young we are. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for him. He's been nothing but kind and caring and gracious and so supportive, and he has literally done everything for me, like carried me into the shower, carried me down the stairs, cooked for me, still cooks for me now to this day, you know, has washed my hair, has put clothes on my back, has taken me out of my wheelchair. He's taken me to my doctor's appointments and my hospital appointments. He has done so much, and I'm so grateful, because unfortunately some people their relationships have broken down due to this. And don't get me, I'll mention a lot of that later, but a lot of my relationships with friends and family have broken down because of this illness. But oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so eternally grateful for him. Okay, so we get to December 2021. Nothing has changed. I have not improved, nothing. And I decided to leave my job. I decided to have my notice in because they were not really empathetic at all, and they were saying about how I may have to retire for is it ill health, like stuff like that. So, and I was 27 at the time. Yeah, so I chose to leave because I didn't want on my record that I had been let go, because I think eventually they would have had to let me go if I wasn't able to return to work in a certain time frame. So I chose to leave because I didn't want that on my record. And it was bleak. I remember Christmas at that time. My husband went down to his family. He didn't really want to go, but obviously he wanted to see them, and I didn't want to stop him from going to see them. So I went to spend time with my family, and I just didn't leave the room at all. I just stayed in bed. I had a terrible Christmas dinner. Oh, also at this time, this is when I started to develop the histamine intolerance and the MCAS. I won't go into histamine intolerance so much because it's so complicated and tricky, and the same with MCAS. I'll probably leave some links below, but essentially my diet since end of 2021 has been horrendous. There's only probably around 40 or 50 foods that I can really comfortably eat without having reactions. And when I mean reactions, I mean like anaphylaxis and anaphylactic shock type symptoms, which is what I was also getting and have been getting. Yeah, I've been on a low histamine diet for a while now, and I'm slowly trying to get out of that now because I want to be able to eat normal foods. But, you know, I crave foods like pizza and chocolate, you know, tomatoes I can't have, they're really high in histamine, alcohol, cured meats, citrus fruits like lemons, oranges. There's just so much food I haven't eaten in years. And yeah, like I said, I'm only eating like about 40 foods, so that also is making me miserable. I haven't been out for dinner with any of my friends or family. I haven't been out for dinner with my partner in almost 3 years. It's horrible. It's just, yeah. And then also socializing, I can't do that anymore. I mean, it has gotten better, but I'll touch on that later. I'm just trying to stay in a bit of a timeline. Yes, so I said December 2021. So yeah, January 2022, I applied for PIP, which is, oh gosh, I can't remember what PIP stands for. I'll put it either on the screen or down below. It's like a government-based thing here for people who have disabilities and illnesses that prevent them from working. Up until this point, everything I was paying for was out of my savings. Thank God I have savings, but that came out of my half of the house deposits. We were trying to buy a home. So yeah, that I'm glad I had that money because some people wouldn't have, but at the same time it took away from my future. And I also had my car at this point, but I wasn't driving because that was something else I couldn't do. I gave up driving, I think end of 2021. So January 2022, we got a wheelchair. So we got the wheelchair from my husband's grandfather, who's no longer with us. And I was able to go out, and because I was obviously just so bedridden and bedbound, I needed to get outside. So my husband was able to take me just around the block because I just didn't have enough energy, really. I also have extreme fatigue at the time, and I just couldn't, everything was just so difficult. Everything was difficult. So yeah, I had the wheelchair, which was a hard thing to take because we would go around our local park where just a couple of months prior I would have been running around that park comfortably doing 5k, and then a few months later I was being wheeled around it in a wheelchair, and that was so surreal, just so hard to comprehend that this has happened. Yeah, just from then, and then I'd say from then and then the first year it's kind of was the hardest. So from June 2021 to June 2022, it was so hard. But I would say after the first year I saw a little bit of improvement. We were lucky that we were able to move and able to get onto the property ladder. So we were able to buy this small flat. And well, my husband bought it. I just wanted to touch briefly on like why we moved. So the main reason why we moved is because I just couldn't bear to live in that house anymore. I just had awful trauma, probably have got undiagnosed PTSD. I don't want to diagnose myself with that because I haven't been diagnosed with it, but I probably have symptoms of it. So I had really bad trauma being in that house, obviously what's happened to me. And also our landlord was putting up the rent. So I said to my husband, why don't we just try and get something for the small amount of money. I mean, I'm very grateful that we were able to do that. So he just bought a flat, just for the time being, just for us to get onto the housing ladder, and because we didn't know how long I was going to be ill. So, because obviously at the time we had saved up our deposit, and kind of at the beginning of 2021, we were sort of looking to see what we could borrow and buy. We were obviously looking for like a 2 to 3 bed home, but we bought this flat, which is a 2-bed flat, which is fine, but yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm digressing. But yeah, that's the main reason why we decided to move. And obviously I was too sick to really do anything. I could barely go into the viewings. But my husband literally took control and ownership of all of that. All of the paperwork, obviously, because it was in his name and everything. So yeah, that's the main reason why we decided to move. So we moved, and I was still using the wheelchair, but I felt that I was able to do a little bit more than what prior to the following year. It was still incredibly hard for me, still wasn't able to see friends and family. At this point, I don't think I'd seen any of my friends. I think I might have seen one friend, but that was a year I had seen her. So yeah, it'd been a year. And then the following friends I hadn't seen, it had been 2 years since I'd seen my friends. So it was horrendous. It was just, it still is, because I don't see my friends now often either. Oh yes, also another thing what happened in that first year, I was blue lighted to A&E in the ambulance, which was horrendous. One of the worst days and worst experiences of my life thus far. That was horrible, because they called the ambulance because I had a reaction to a food and a supplement I took, and called the ambulance, and they checked my heart and stuff, and I think it was tachycardia, which is a fast heart rate on is it elevation or on rest, and it obviously wasn't normal. So they took me into the ambulance, and as soon as I heard the sirens, it was just, obviously I was in a state anyway, but as soon as they said to me, I think we need to take you to A&E because something isn't right, and I was just like, what? Like, so yeah, I got sirened over there and got hooked up to all these machines, and I genuinely thought, okay, I think this is the end. Yeah, as soon as the doctor saw me, so not only was I was treated really badly, I was misgendered. They called me he and him, and I was just like, wow. Like at the time, like I said, obviously I cut my hair, and my hair was like a year into its growth, or no, maybe about 6 months into its growth at that point. But I don't think I look like it anyway, whatever. Yeah, so I was misgendered, which was horrendous. I was also definitely racially profiled. The doctor, as soon as he saw me, was like, he was like, are you pregnant? No, obviously not. And he was like, oh, do you have sickle cell anemia? So for those who don't know, sickle cell is very much related to a lot of black people have sickle cell. I think, I could be wrong, but I know a lot of black people, not a lot of black people, but it's mainly in black people. So he asked me that straight away, and I said no. Like, they can look on my file and see I have no medical history apart from a sprained ankle and a broken nose and a few fillings. No medical history whatsoever. So I don't know why he was asking me that. And then he was like, you're not having any blood tests, this is just anxiety. And he was mishandling me. I was shaking and tense because I've just been driven to the ambulance with sirens going. So he was like trying to mishandling me, trying to get me to, he was like, oh, like, it was horrible. And then I was just really obviously short with him, because I was just like, you know, he's treating, I kind of blocked it all out, to be honest. And then, yeah, he was like, you're not having any bloods, like, this is just anxiety. So gaslighted again. And then he came back after I had a bit of food, because my blood pressure was low. And he came back, and he was like, you could tell his tone had changed, and he was quite, like, he was starting to be nice. Oh yeah, they did a COVID test as well, and I didn't have COVID. He was starting to be a little bit more friendly to me, and I was just like, it was awful. And then I remember, luckily I got discharged and went home, and thankfully, because my, you know, obviously my husband and family were worried, but it was fine. The doctors and the hospital have been terrible. I can't even be bothered to go into it, but there's been no support, really. I've had to pay out of my own pocket for a lot of private healthcare, and I don't even have the money to do that. And it's just, I can't believe, like, in this, yeah, I don't even want to go into it, because I don't really want the politics of it all. During that time, so yeah, wasn't driving, pretty much lost all my money. Haven't been working, I didn't work for 18 months, no social life whatsoever, just completely housebound. I saw maybe my family like once every other month or so, but it was just horrendous. June 2022, I think, was the first time I went on a trip out of my local area, and that was really nice. Still struggled, but it was a really nice cottage that we hired out, and we had a hot tub. Couldn't really get in the hot tub, to be honest, because the fumes alone was just really, really bad for me. But I still managed to have a good time. Oh yeah, like I said, I applied for PIP. I got denied. I had to go to the meeting and they turned around to me in the notes, we're denying any payments to this person because they appeared healthy, or something like that. They didn't appear to be unwell. Bearing in mind, I came to my appointment in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk from the car to the appointment, which was probably like a 5-minute walk. I couldn't do that. And they said because she was smiling, and she appeared to be okay, we're not granting her anything. And I was just like, wow. And that broke me. For somebody to tell you that you're not ill, and it's like, if I wasn't ill, I wouldn't be applying for this. And I know there are some people that cheat the system, and it's just for them to sit there and say, yeah, we're not going to help you. And it's just a real kick in the teeth. Just really just lost my way. Still have, to be honest. But things slowly started to change after the 18-month mark. And that was because in March 2023, almost literally a year to the date, as you might be seeing this, almost a year to the date, I managed to go back to work. And this was with a previous employer that worked for a couple of years back, which I really loved working with them. I can't tell you how life-changing that has been. I only work a couple of hours a day, but it's enough for me to give me purpose, to give me a drive again, to give me sense of achievement. And my employers have been nothing but amazing. They've been so incredibly supportive, flexible for me. I'm working completely remote because my their offices are down south, because I used to work there when I lived down south. And I am just so beyond grateful. I really am. And I think that was really the turning point for me, on how things, even though things are still bad and I still really suffer with my depression and mental health, it can be really awful sometimes. It really has helped in terms of my mental health, because I work 5 days a week, and just having colleagues to chat to, and my the main people who own it, they have just been so incredibly supportive, and my manager has been amazing. I'm so happy. And how I managed to do that, because I didn't know if I was able to return to work. A few months prior to me returning to work, this was towards the end of 2022, I was starting to feel that I was able to maybe do some stuff, because I was watching TV again and I wasn't getting wiped out from it. I was on my phone again and I wasn't getting wiped out from it. I wasn't getting overstimulated from it. So I thought, what kind of company is going to want me to work for like an hour or 2 hours a day? So I didn't really know what to do. So I remember I just wanted to test it out, and I was like, right, let me just get on my laptop for like an hour and see what I can do. So I started playing The Sims. I'm a big Sims OG, been playing The Sims since the first one, since 2002 is it, or 2003? Love The Sims. So I was playing The Sims 4, and I was doing maybe about half an hour to an hour, and that was giving me so much joy. I started playing that and I was like, okay, well, I can just about manage maybe an hour or two a day. So I was slowly starting to look like on LinkedIn and stuff and seeing if there was anything out there. One of my old, I did message one of my old managers, well, she wasn't really a manager, she was like a director who I had on LinkedIn. Lovely woman. I told her what the deal was, and I was like, do you have any freelance spots and stuff like that? And she was like, I can ask my old manager. Just, I've sent him your details, blah, blah. I'm really sorry to hear what happened, blah, blah, blah. And that was that, really, because she had left the company. Long story short, I saw a pop-up of my old company, the job, because I had the alerts switched on from Indeed, from when I used to work there. I don't know why, but I hadn't turned it off. So I saw that they were hiring. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And my husband was like, oh, why don't you apply for there again? And I was like, oh, I don't know if they'd want me to come back. And one day I was just like, you know what? Let me just shoot my shot. So I messaged one of my old colleagues who I had been in touch with like a few years, and I told her my situation. She was like, yeah, definitely reach out to them and whatever. So I didn't want to reach out to be like, oh, hi, rah, rah. Like, I just wanted to apply like normally. But anyway, yeah, long story short, they
were happy for me to come back. They were really happy for me to come back, actually. And some of my old colleagues who I used to work with still work there. So it was so nice to like catch up with those guys again. And it was hard. The first day when I worked, I crashed after. And I was crying. I was like, I don't want to let them down. I'm so scared. Like I was like, I'm gonna have to have my notice in because I can't do it. And my husband was like, just try one more day. Just try one more day. Because I think I started on a Friday or a Thursday. He's like, just try one more day and see how it happens. See what happens. So I got up, worked again the next day, and it was okay. And then I did the same the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. I have crashed just from when I've been doing stuff outside of work, and I've just been like, oh, I literally can't bring myself to work today. Like, I'm completely bedridden, like closed curtains bedridden. And they've been really supportive and aware that, you know, that can happen and stuff, especially around my cycle. Also, remember when I said I reached out to another previous employer about some freelance opportunities? Well, my old manager emailed me last year and said, oh, I have some work for you if you're interested in coming on as a freelancer. And I was like, wow, okay. So at the time I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't, because we were planning the wedding, getting married, and I was just like, there's too much going on. And I also wanted to make sure that like I could do my day job and do this freelancing stuff as well, even though the freelance was going to be ad hoc. So yeah, so anyway, yeah, so long story short, I've also been freelancing for my old company, which I used to work for, and just been very, very, very lucky. I don't do that much work with them. It's very, very ad hoc, but it does help, you know, with the bills, but not the bills, but it helps me with like, you know, buying books and saving up and things like that, because unfortunately, not working for 18 months, my savings were completely destroyed and wiped out. I also had to sell my car, which I really loved, because I just needed the money, like desperately needed it. And it was hard selling that car. So I love driving. I love having my independence. And I really hope and pray that I'm able to drive again, because I miss it so, so dearly. So yeah, fast forward up to now. I'm able to do more walks by myself, like maybe around 20 minutes, but I probably need a little bit of a break in between that. I'm definitely able to do a lot more like cleaning and just in general, just do a lot more for myself. When before it was really hard, I couldn't really cook a meal. It was just incredibly difficult. So I want to share and say, for anybody who has just been diagnosed with long COVID, or if you're in your first year of diagnosis, I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but it has got so much better for me. I'm nowhere near what I was before, but so much better than what I was in the first 6 months. I was also able to fulfill my wishes and get married. We were always planning on getting married on our 10-year anniversary of when we met, and thankfully I was so determined to do it, and we did it. It was a very small, intimate wedding of just 14 of us, so just our close family. And I managed to have a wedding and plan it. I managed to have a bit of a dance as well, just wore my loops and I was fine. The next day I was a little ropey, but I was okay. I was just probably high on the adrenaline. And then I think the following couple of days I did crash, but it wasn't bad because I was really, really happy. We haven't been on our honeymoon yet, but we did go on a mini moon down to Cornwall, which was so nice. It was lovely. Had such amazing weather for October. And yeah, I'm so grateful I got to marry my husband, because I didn't think it would have been possible, to be honest. I really, really didn't think it would. So I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, I just want to say to all my long COVID brothers and sisters, time is a healer, and pace yourself. You need to pace. Not everybody's going to have the same journey and same story as me. It's still really hard and difficult, don't get me wrong, but I have days and months even, where I'm feeling more like myself. Like previously, I couldn't even listen to music, and I'm a big, big music fan. I hated music at one point. I hated it. I just hated everything. And now I listen to music when I can again, and it fills me with so much joy. However, there's still so many things I do miss. and I still grieve my life, and I'm still in a process of grief and loss and trauma. I miss going to festivals. I miss going to concerts and gigs. That was my thing. That's what I did prior to this. I miss going on date nights. I miss going on girls' night out with my girls, trips with my girls. I miss seeing my family. I miss going out for dinner. I miss so many milestones and weddings I haven't been able to attend, and I don't think I'll be able to attend. I'm not able to be a bridesmaid for my best friend's wedding next year. Just so many things which people don't realise. And I just feel like, I've always said to my husband, like, it kind of feels like I have died, because I just get to watch everybody live on without me at these things. Like, a lot of my friends are planning like a trip this year and I can't go, and there's so many things I'm missing out on, and I feel like my friendships are suffering because of this. I don't feel as connected to my friends anymore because there's so many events I've missed out on, and I just feel like the gap is getting bigger and bigger of how often I don't see them. Yeah, I'm grateful that my energy envelope is a little bit larger now, and I'm able to do things a little bit more, and I'm able to be just a little bit more independent. But I don't think I'll rest until, I don't know, because I don't know what the future holds. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. And I speak to people with ME and things, and obviously they've had ME for so many years. Maybe I'm in denial thinking that I will improve to a point, because I've seen people improve with long COVID, and I've seen people go back to their pre-COVID health, and I have faith that that could happen to me. But then I also feel like it won't, and I have to accept that it won't. But I'm just really, really stuck. But yeah, I often mourn the life that I was meant to have. I've lost my late 20s to this, and I'm scared that I'm going to lose my 30s, 40s, and however long. I'm scared that this has shortened my life, because this is going to lead to further health problems in the future. Yeah, it's hard. I just want to share awareness, because I may look put together and presentable, but inside I'm really hurting, and I'm in a lot of pain, physically and mentally. I don't feel supported sometimes. I feel like society doesn't know about the millions of us that are suffering with this, and there's nothing that's being done about it. I'm very, very fortunate that I've been able to return to work, and I really do love my job, and it's a job that's low stress, and everyone on my team and everyone in my company is so, so nice. But I only work 2 hours a day. That's not going to help pay a mortgage. That's not going to help me buy a car. That's not going to help me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm still at a disadvantage here. I still have to show up. I still have to log on to work when I even feel so rotten. And I just think no one on earth would show up to work when they're bedridden with the flu. They just wouldn't. But I have to do that every day, and I've been continuing to do it every day now. And I just think, just give us a bit of grace, people who have chronic illness. Just give us a bit of grace. Do you know what I mean? Listen to us, help us, support us, because it's hard. It's so hard. It's been hard in my relationship with my husband. It really has. I miss our relationship. It is not what it used to be. We used to have so much fun together. We used to go on so many trips. Oh yeah, traveling, that's another thing I miss. I miss going on holiday. We used to go on so many trips together, and albeit, yeah, we've done a few UK breaks, but they can only really be like a couple of days, and it's so expensive to go on holiday in the UK. But I miss going abroad. I miss just people watching, having a glass of wine and sitting outside. I miss doing activities. I miss just a life with him, a life that I had before. I miss running. I miss putting my headphones on and walking. I miss going to the gym. I miss just having a potter in the shops. Just so many things you take for granted. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I just really want to come across how it has been for me for almost 3 years. Like, my life now is full of fear. It's all calculated and paced. I can't do so much because it's going to jeopardize what I can do. For example, I went to a barbecue with my family like last summer, obviously, and I was bedridden for the following day. It's like you have to say no to a lot of things. You can't live a normal life. And also I've tried like things like medication stuff. I've recently tried HRT because my hormones are completely out of whack, and it messed me up and left me bedridden because of all the crap in there, and just all how it's just my body's just so sensitive to stuff. It's so hard. Just everything is just so calculated. It's like you can't eat that because it's gonna make you feel worse. You can't do this. Even certain makeup, I put makeup on, but the following day I feel crap. I feel awful because of all this stuff that's in it, and it's probably reacting to me. And it's just so exhausting living with this. And I never knew anything about this before. And I just think people don't realise how hard we have had it. It has been so difficult, and yeah, it's been so difficult. And some people have been just so rude. People really show their true colours when it comes down to stressful things like illness. But yeah, anyway, that's another story for another day. I just wanted to share my story. I haven't even touched on everything, but I didn't want this video to be super long. Thank you so much for listening and taking time into, listening to my story. It hasn't been easy for me at all. And I just want anybody out there who has long COVID, please just don't give up. Don't give up. Like, I feel like I've had phases where I have given up and then I haven't. I've been fighting it, and then I don't know. I just want to share my experience. It is so hard, and I'm with you, and I'm sending you lots of love and positivity, and I'm just sending you so much support from one person with long COVID to the next. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you have to experience this, because it's horrible. It's devastating. It's single-handedly one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. And sometimes when I really deep it, I just think, I can't believe I'm here. I was such a thriving, like, bubbly, outgoing person. It's so weird when you guys say, oh, you're so calm, and I'm not. Like, before this, I was always like the loud, like, not party animal, but just always like made my presence known sort of person. And I'm just not. I am a shell of who I was, a shell. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments, and I'll try and get back to them or whatever. Or I just think if you're going through long COVID, try and join a support group. And yeah, that's probably the best thing that I've done. Try and have some buddies as well that you speak to who do have long COVID, because that really helps as well. And thank you so much for listening. I've probably have missed out on a few things, but yeah, I've almost been talking for an hour now, and then I need some lunch. So thank you so much again for everybody, for all the kind comments on this channel. You really do. Like, this channel has also been life-changing for me in terms of giving me more confidence and giving me purpose. Yeah, you guys have made such an impact on my life, and you've given me a reason to keep going. So thank you so much. And hopefully you'll have a bit more of a cheery video next time. So yeah, that's my story. I don't know if I covered it well. I'm missing so much more, but I didn't want to go on for too long. So yeah, that's it, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you in my next video.